Welcome to iPad Pros, the show all about using your iPad to be productive and get work done. I'm Tim Chaten, host of the show. Welcome back to another episode of iPad Pros. This is the last episode for the year for 2021, and I thought what better way to finish up the year is for me to bring on my friend Matt Birchler and for us to just look back at the year of 2021 from an entertainment perspective. So this is just a non-iPad focused episode all about all of the fun entertainment we enjoyed throughout the year, whether it be music, movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about our journey in trying to hunt down and get the PS5. So a lot of fun stuff to chat about in this hour-and-a-half episode of entertainment in 2021. The episode ends, and I do preface it before we get into spoilers. The last 10 minutes or so is spoilers for Matrix Resurrections, which I watched just minutes before we started recording. So that's kind of how this episode ends. And the next episode, the first episode for next year, is going to be a really in-depth conversation about Playgrounds 4, which is the brand new app for iPad that allows you to write and submit apps for iPad and iPhone directly from your iPad. So some exciting stuff coming in 2022, but I thought, let's end this year in a fun way, just talking about entertainment from this year. Hope you enjoy it. I just want to remind everyone that you can now financially support iPad Pros in two different places. First off, patreon.com/iPadPros. Get episodes early and with embedded MP3 chapter markers by supporting the podcast at any tier. Bonus content is also available at the higher tiers. You can also now subscribe to iPad Pros in Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts is an all-inclusive single subscription, so you'll get all of the bonus content plus episodes early by subscribing to the show in Apple Podcasts. By default, subscriptions are monthly, but if you go into your subscription settings in the Settings app, you can switch it to a yearly plan. My thanks to everyone that currently or has in the past supported the podcast financially. This podcast is not a quick one to produce, and your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. You can also support the podcast for free simply by leaving a review in Apple Podcasts. No matter your region, it really does help. The reviews help send the right signals to Apple to show this podcast more in search, helping others discover the show. If you have a minute today, I'd really appreciate you opening up the podcast app and leaving a review. My thanks to everyone that has already done that. With that, here's my conversation with Matt. Enjoy. Welcome back to the podcast, Matt.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So
year-end episode.
A bit different of an episode. We're not talking about iPad stuff, really. We're just talking about entertainment in 2021. Kind of a fun, just relaxed end of the year. Let's just I was going over kind of what I've been listening to and watching and playing this year, and thought it'd be fun to just reflect on the year that was, as far as just leisure time.
Yeah.
Enjoyment.
A lot of us have some leisure time right now. We got to fill it up with stuff. So I'd love to talk about some of the things that I enjoyed this past year. It's gonna be great.
Cool. So I think let's start with TV shows.
Ooh. Okay.
So this was the year Marvel decided to make TV shows for real, I should say. We had that other stuff on Netflix. And
shots at the Mandalorian, man. Okay.
Mandalorian is Star Wars.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
they're all under Disney. I get
we're
confused.
We're eagerly awaiting a Boba Fett show, which I can't wait for that to drop. I think that's Christmas Day. Is that right?
Oh, is it? I feel like their advertising has been very vague as to like when exactly it's coming out.
Yeah, it's very soon. I'm very excited for that because I just love Mandalorian and Star Wars and the live action stuff especially. It's been really good. But we finally got Marvel in 2021, and all the shows have been super well done, I thought. Some better than others. I have not seen Hawkeye episode 6 yet. I'll be watching that soon. Have you been enjoying most of the Marvel shows, or has it been kind of hit or miss for you?
I've only watched 2 of them, but they both hit. So I watched WandaVision, and I loved WandaVision. I loved the first half of WandaVision, especially when I was like, oh, this isn't a Marvel show at all. This is like something totally different.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed that. And then Loki was the other one that I watched, and I really liked Loki. Loki was a lot of fun. Too. Yeah. But I missed all the other ones, but those 2 are the ones that really piqued my interest, and they both, I thought, hit really well this year.
Falcon was the one that didn't hit as much for me. I enjoyed most of it, but other than that, Hawkeye's just been enjoyable. I love that it's like set in Christmas time, which is fun this time of year to watch a show that's like embraces Christmas in a way.
Yeah, that's the one that I want to see. The Falcon and Winter Soldier one or whatever, I'm not dying to see, but like people keep talking about Hawkeye. Yeah. So I got to watch it sometime this winter break.
It's been cool to just see like Marvel TV and a lot of these like Loki and Hawkeye, they seem like just expanded movies. Like this is the true like director's cut, Peter Jackson style. Let's do some character development on these kind of things you wouldn't otherwise get a movie about.
Yeah, and I kind of like how they're able to focus more just on, because one of the things that I don't love about the like Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff is like at some point, and I think they kind of get better at this, but like at some point, like every movie was just an Avengers movie. Yeah, like Captain America: Civil War is the one that comes to mind.
Everything's the world's gonna end if you don't save this.
It's like this is the Captain America movie, but like Iron Man is here and Spider-Man is here and everyone is here, and it's like okay, you have like the Avengers movies for those, but like let's focus on the characters in this one and do like weird stuff with them that's unique to them.
Right.
I thought the Loki one and the WandaVision one like really leaned into that. So that I really appreciate. Like they touched on the other stuff in the wider universe and everything, but they really kind of explored those characters in a better way than I think the movies have been able to.
Yeah, very much so. And Bad Batch, I did watch all that. That was enjoyable if you're a Clone Wars, Star Wars fan. Okay. But yeah, I got into Clone Wars a while back, and it makes you appreciate the prequels in a cool way. And the Bad Batch, some of the it was a long season, and like it was not that extended movie type thing. It was more of a TV show, and it had some cool like some episodes were like connecting some Star Wars worlds, which were like, oh my god level type things, and others were just like, okay, this is fun little 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's that's one of those things that's like everybody. There's definitely a group of people that I see like online who are always excited about it and are like, this is like the greatest thing. I can't believe it's back. Did you see this new one? It's so great. And I just haven't jumped into that world myself.
Well, my favorite things I experienced was a like Revenge of the Sith master cut where it like, because a lot of the Clone Wars and stuff, the newer ones, there's a set of episodes where it'll cut in between Revenge of the Sith and Clone Wars in the same episode, doing animated like things that are parallel to that movie. And there's this really phenomenal cut that like makes it just on fire. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. You got to appreciate a really well done cut.
Yeah, it's fun that like the fan like edits can be a lot of fun sometimes with that stuff. I remember back in the day when Avengers was still new, I did this chronological edit of Phase 1 of Avengers that was like 6 or 7 hours long. I was like cutting back and forth between all the movies, and I don't know how enjoyable it was to watch, but it was a fun little project to do.
Yeah, it's so daunting. I don't even know. My brain's struggling to wrap its head around it.
So, any TV shows that stuck out to you this year?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 shows really stuck out to me. I like those Marvel shows, but 2 really kind of got their hooks in me. The first one is Midnight Mass, which is it's a miniseries. It was on Netflix from the creator of The Haunting at Hill House.
Yeah.
From a couple years ago, and it's a little campy, but it was so good, and was like dealt with really heavy issues of like mortality and what happens and like all that stuff. But like it's the story of a really small town on an island like in like New England, just off the coast, and a new like preacher comes to town for like the one church they have, and things get weird. Is all I will say without spoiling things. But it really grabbed me and was like, it was one of those shows where just while I was watching it was like the only thing that I wanted to, whenever I had like free time, it's like, do I have an hour? I'm going to watch that. Like that was it. Like, do I have an hour before work? I'm going to watch it now because that's all I wanted to fill my time with. Yeah. So I really recommend it. I feel like it didn't get as much attention as the Haunting at Hill House did. Like I think that hit like really hard.
Oh yeah. We watched that
when it did.
Our household. Yeah, I had not heard of that one, so I'll have to check that out.
It's so good. It's so good.
So, another one I'll mention from Disney Plus, and this is perhaps aimed towards children. Mighty Ducks Game Changers was super enjoyable. As a longtime Mighty Ducks fan, we get Gordon Bombay back as this kind of older, kind of Scrooge-ish kind of like down on things character. That's he shifts throughout the series to be a little bit more jovial. Stars the mom from Gilmore Girls, Laura Graham, I think is her name.
Laura Graham, yeah. Okay.
Just like it's a fun like hockey. It's like it has those good vibes of the Mighty Ducks back in the movies, and I don't know, part nostalgia of it. I think it was just really well done as well. So.
Okay, yeah, I had not even heard of that one. So.
Yeah, it's like a 10-episode series. I hope they do another season because I thought that was really well done.
Okay,
yeah,
just kind of like a feel good sort of show.
Feel good sort of show. Some cool cameos that just put a smile on your face. Yeah. So yeah, super good.
Those there's nothing wong with those.
Right?
That's great.
What else for you?
Okay. The other one that really hooked me, and this one's definitely more cliche maybe, but I don't know if I heard anyone talking about it, but it just kind of came on my radar, is Formula One Drive to Survive.
Okay.
Which is like it's a documentary series. They started after the 2018 season, and they did the 2019 and 2020 seasons, and there's going to be one for this year. But they basically just have film crews and interviews with all the F1 teams as they go through the season, and it's unbelievably addicting. It's so
Are
like
you
I had
normally an F1 fan, or is this like no?
Never watched a second of it. Didn't know who Lewis Hamilton was. Like apparently he's just blowing the doors off like all the records and and I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
Had no idea and didn't care at all. But like I heard like one or two people mention it, that it was like really good and got them into it. And by the end of the I marathoned all 3 seasons that are out.
Netflix?
I finished it. It's on Netflix,
okay.
Yeah. So finished it like right before the last couple races of the season. And so like in the championship race, I'm like in my living room at like 7 a.m. cheering for someone that I didn't even know existed 5 months ago.
That's awesome.
So hugely recommended if you don't know anything about Formula One, or even if you do, I suppose. But it's just really, they do really good storytelling. They find like the interesting like human aspects of it and really lean into it, which is really great. And like it teaches you like about the sport, I guess, and in ways that I didn't really understand before, and it really made me appreciate just kind of all the stuff that's going on there. It's so much more than I realized.
That's cool. I wish more sports had this kind of like documentary, because I don't care about, I'm not a sports guy in general. Like I mentioned the Mighty Ducks. I like that. I don't watch hockey. I like good like stories around sports. So I wish like that was more of a thing, like documentary sports that are kind of concurrent with seasons. That could be an interesting future for like if players were open to it.
Absolutely. Like apparently the NFL does this, where they do like they have a similar thing where they have a crew following, but it's only one team, and it's like during training camp or something. It's not like the full season. It's not into the depth of this. I would watch every sport I'm not interested in. Like, this is how I want to consume it.
Kind of like
this is so great.
Reality TV for sports, although it's not really, because this is more realistic. I don't know, realistic. They're not putting.
I don't. It's reality TV vibes where you have like them like filming the stuff, and then they have sit down interviews, and they kind of intercut and like create stories there. But like, I certainly hope the crew isn't like puncturing tires and stuff and like creating drama. They kind of just go with it, but yeah, it's really, really good. I cannot recommend it enough. I would predict if you watch one episode, you'll know immediately if this is something for you or not.
That's cool.
But yeah, totally is on Netflix, so easy to see.
I want to draw attention to the fact that the TV app is like silently awesome. So Dexter New Blood is the next show I want to talk about. I didn't know this thing was a thing until I opened the TV app one day and said, here's some like new shows that people are watching, and like there's Dexter. I love Dexter. Dexter was like 10 years ago. I've watched all 8 seasons. I'm rewatching the old ones now just to refresh my memory.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm in season 6. I've been binging through all the Dexters concurrently to watching this new show, Dexter New Blood. And Dexter New Blood is super well done, and just like Dexter's back, and I think it's just this one season. I hope they do more, because it's Dexter, but new. Like, it's not the same exact show. It's like tackling different themes and different issues of, his son Harrison shows up in the very first episode, and it's Dexter being a father to this teenage kid, and there's a lot, it's okay. It's enjoyable. Did you watch the original series at all?
I did. All I can guess for the new series is that he's worried about the Dark Passenger,
yes,
and his son, and making sure that doesn't pass down the bloodline or whatever.
Yeah. No. Yep. Very much so. And Deborah is his like conscience instead of Harry. Instead, it's him and Deb talking, and that's a really cool chemistry there.
Okay. Gotcha.
And a cool trend I've noticed with TV shows are the podcasts. And there's a podcast that airs on Tuesday. The show's on Sunday at midnight. You can watch it. And then on Tuesday, this podcast airs with the showrunner, Clyde Phillips, I think, hosts it. And he has on cast and crew interviewing writers and stuff, breaking down the episode. They're like an hour long. And Foundation did this as well. It's a theme. Like, this is not a thing we had like a couple of years ago where there's these like great podcasts that are official that are breaking this stuff down.
Yeah, no, I totally. I haven't watched the Dexter series, the new one.
Yeah.
But I started watching Foundation, and the podcast was like, I enjoyed the podcast more than Foundation.
Right.
But I think it's great. Like, there's these shows that have just cropped up over the past couple of years of like just like fans doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's
Seinfeld has a really great one. Signcast. I've been re-listening to
the Signcast. All right.
Yeah, I've been listening to that. I haven't been. I binged through all of Seinfeld at some point during this year. I got on the Signcast as well, and that one's super well done from fans. And the stuff they get into is just amazing. Like all these actors that play multiple characters that are just these side parts throughout the whatever 9 seasons. It's remarkable some of the stuff they dig up. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've also been loving Curb Your Enthusiasm. Latest season is just about wrapped up, and I'm a fan of Seinfeld. Love Larry David. He does some wacky stuff over there.
Nice. Yeah.
I had to point out one very just technically weird thing on one of the episodes where there's like this, 30-foot USB or 30-foot like lightning cord up on the roof or whatever. Repairman's like cleaning stuff on the roof, fixing stuff. And Leon barges in and asks to charge his iPhone with Larry's iPad Pro's cable, which is a USB-C cord. Because Leon's like wanting to charge it. It's like they don't bring that up. I just thought like, no, this isn't even.
Oh, okay.
This won't even work with your phone.
I was like, do they have a port-based joke on like Apple's port ecosystem joke?
I don't know if that's. I think it was overlooked, and like I don't know if that was just like an oversight of like Larry should have just said this won't even work with your thing. Yeah, but anyways, I just had to comment on that one. Yeah,
I'm glad we could share it here. That's the sort of thing where your spouse may not care, but we care.
Yes, yeah,
you noticed.
Yeah. Hulu's had some great stuff this year. DopeSick. Kind of depressing, but super well good with like Michael Keaton and stuff about the opioid epidemic. Like the Sackler family and all this shady stuff they've done. It's like it dramatizes that with some really great actors and actresses that do phenomenal work showcasing that story.
Okay,
it's like
that sounds good.
8 episodes, super good. I got super addicted to that show when that was
okay.
9 Perfect Strangers is the other one on Hulu that I thought was really
okay.
good.
I've been intrigued by this one.
Nicole Kidman, I think. Yeah, Nicole Kidman, a bunch of other people. Basically, these people go to this resort that Nicole Kidman runs, and she uses these like mind-altering drugs, and they have this experience, and there's a lot of connections to these people that we don't know about from the beginning. It's good. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's on my list. It's been just like perpetually on my queue of things to watch. Yeah. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah,
nice. You mentioned Hulu. Another show, I think it's on Hulu, that I didn't think I would enjoy, but enough people recommended was Derry Girls.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the older ones.
Okay.
Of that.
I don't think there was a new season this year, but I got into it this year. But it doesn't matter. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it, I think.
Yeah.
It really is, especially a couple episodes in, you become really attached to the characters. It's a comedy. It's in Ireland. I can't really explain it, but it's very, very good. I would recommend it to everyone.
I got into it because my sister-in-law lives in Ireland, and she came back one time and said, "Hey, watch this." And, we watched it. It's like, oh, this is good. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. An absolute good time. The sort of one where the thing comes up at the end and it's like next episode in 3, 2, 1, and you're like, just play it.
Yeah. Apple TV, their content's great. Like, I don't know, Morning Show, Foundation, Ted Lasso, like they've just been on a roll. For All Mankind, I think was the latest season this year. I think it was earlier this year.
I think it might have been very early this year.
Yeah. Like they've just. I give stuff a shot on Apple TV Plus, even if I don't think I might not like it, because like it seems like their quality is like of HBO of old, kind of. It seems like their stuff's good.
Yeah. I think Apple TV makes really high quality content that I don't want to watch.
Aw, that's what you said.
They make really good. I'm totally with you. Like their production values are good. They hire good people who do good work. Like
Mythic Quest, I adored.
Yeah. I bounced off it.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I don't know. I think I was definitely critical of Apple TV Plus when it launched. Like I didn't think their launch lineup was good, but it's definitely gotten way, way better over time. Like, and they're a serious player right now. Like they've done a ton of stuff to get really good stuff on there. It just doesn't land with me.
Yeah. And I will say, I love that Apple TV is like an app, because like that means all my iTunes purchases, like the 800 whatever plus movies I've bought since that service launched, is on like my PS5, and that means I can watch all those movies in VR, which is a cool experience.
I suppose you could.
Yeah, so like we'll talk about movies later, but that's how I watched the James Bond movie, is in VR through a rental on Apple TV, and then in that app you can do it there. That was pretty sweet.
I didn't even consider that angle. But
yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah, no, I think the Apple TV app is underrated. I think it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
If Netflix was in there too, which I know isn't Apple's fault, but if that was in there too, that would be just.
I watch so much less Netflix because the app's not a part of that, and like it just reminds me of the shows I'm watching, and like catch the latest episode of that. Hacks is another show I've been really enjoying this year. That was on HBO. Kind of a younger. Someone young in their career kind of screws up and gets kind of like blacklisted from work, joins up with this old comedian that is kind of at the end of her career, and some interesting drama ensues. It's like a comedy set in Vegas. Really good.
Okay.
And like I've shown the show to a couple people that are like varying ages, and they've all like clicked with it. It's a good sign.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that one too. Just haven't made the time.
Any other TV show?
Not from me. I don't think.
Okay.
I've got any that really stood out.
I've got a couple things for music to mention from this year. Do you have anything in that category?
I do. I'm very bad at discussing why I like music, but I'm happy to attempt it.
So, for music, what do you got?
So if I go just based on like amount of time listened, based on my Apple Music stats, my top album of the year was Grapefruit Season by James Vincent McMurrow.
Okay.
Which is kind of like it's a pop album. Kind of electric pop. It's mostly just pop. It's just a fun album. I've liked James Vincent McMurrow for quite a while. He used to sound very much like Bon Iver, and then kind of shifted. He's more, I'd say, closer to James Blake, but not quite as strange as James Blake can get. But yeah, just I really, really like him, and a couple of the songs just really are just like ones I keep listening to over and over again. So that was probably my album of the year, just based on how much I kind of just played it all year long.
Yeah. So this year we got spatial audio for music, and that's been pretty cool just to experience on the AirPods Max, as we both have now.
Yep. I still blame you for that. I don't know how many times I have to blame you, but it's every time.
Like
I'm on the show.
And like a surprising avenue for spatial audio, and not so surprising, I should look at in retrospect are movie soundtracks, which are already mixed in 5.1 or in Dolby Atmos for the movies, probably. And a lot of those are popping up in cool ways. Like Hamilton's one that came up. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker has a spatial audio mix, and that's been fun to experience John Williams in that way.
Okay.
Yeah. But the album that just came out this year and just shocked me and surprised me is A Love Supreme had a live recording in Seattle. And so John Coltrane, my favorite probably musician of all time, my favorite part of his career was like Love Supreme to when he died. It was like 63 to 67, so he had like around a five-year run or so of when he started to get more abstract and kind of free jazz space, where you'd have a performance of like My Favorite Things and it'd be the 60-minute performance of that one song and just riffing and experimentation, and just it's kind of transcendent moments where you're just like in a different space. You can just like, and I put a candle on and just be zoning out and meditating to Coltrane for an hour. And,
okay.
It's almost like a spiritual like connection with music, and like the way it connects with me. Just it's not that phase of his music isn't great for like background listening, but it's like your focused listening time where you're just like focused on that. And the thing that I realized with this release is like he must have been performing a hell of a lot more than we got recordings from. Like these days, if someone's performing, we're capturing that and releasing it in some avenue. Like Mark Arment, is Fish Guy, and every concert is released, right?
Yep.
Back then, we didn't have that. We got like a few tidbits and tastings of like some of the live stuff, and the live stuff is some of the most special stuff out there. And he didn't do many performances of Love Supreme, I guess, live. This was one of them. The other one I had already was in France. So this one's from Seattle. And so it was captured October 2nd, 1965. And evidently it was recorded by Joe Brazil, just a saxophonist that was in the audience, I guess, with a recorder. I'm not exactly sure. It sounds remarkably good. Like they cleaned it up or whatever. But I just love this, like, people discovering Coltrane recordings, like some like 65, what is that, like 50 plus, how long has it been? It's been a while, and people just discovering like music, like, I love that fact that like, and there's been like 2 or 3 others over the past few years that people just like found in a basement somewhere of like Coltrane recording.
Well, that's kind of like the thing with that Beatles documentary, Get Back, that just came out. It's like we had all this film of them like creating an album in a couple weeks, and like we just didn't do anything with it.
Well,
like
I
what?
guess we didn't have the technology to like fully realize it. Like the amount of cleanup I heard was done to that is just wrong. Like something I heard is, I forget who was doing this, but they were like obscuring their mics by like tapping and stuff. And they use some kind of computers to like clean it up, get rid of the tapping on the mics, so they have crystal clear audio. And like their conversations are out there, and they intended it to be covered up by the guitar or whatever. And,
Well, I didn't watch all of it, but I watched some of it. I don't, not to go back to TV, but like there was like there's like a line at some point. One of them was like, we're playing the guitar so that you can't hear what we're saying. And now 55 years later, or however many years later, this is we're just like using an AI tool to remove the music, and we can hear you crystal clear.
And it was recorded in a format that just would look terrible if you tried to watch it today. So like the conversion process, like I love Peter Jackson. I love his films. Like I've watched them all, from Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, all his old stuff, to the newer stuff, Lord of the Rings and stuff. But he's on a documentary kick. Like he did a World War I documentary that I saw in theaters, which was a powerful experience, where he colorized it and like put audio to it. Like that was super awesome. And then Beatles, I'm curious what he's up to next. Like he's on this like interesting kick, which he's really good at.
Yeah, I like when artists do that, where they kind of just like do a thing that's like remarkably successful, and then they can just work on their passion projects. Like Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter is one that comes to mind too. Like he doesn't do major films; he does like all passion projects now, and it's great.
And then Adele released an album, to my surprise, this year. which was quite good and heartfelt, as they always are. And
sure, classic Adele.
Yeah, so just had to mention that. Yeah, that's what I have for music.
Yeah, I don't have much more details to share, but I really liked the albums from Bleachers this year. That's Jack Antonoff's band. Jack Antonoff produces a ton of pop music, but he's got his own project called Bleachers. It's great. The new Churches record was great. Holly Humberstone released an EP this year, and is the only spatial audio thing I've ever listened to where I'm like, oh, this is better than stereo.
Yeah.
So I really, really like that. But yeah, those are some of the ones that really stood out to me. Outside of Olivia Rodrigo had a good album, Kanye West had a good album. A lot of the big names, of course, kind of delivered.
I should mention, besides the live recording of Love Supreme also got remastered in spatial audio this year, and that is a delightful experience, I must say.
Nice.
Kind of Blue also got mastered in spatial audio, which is another really good experience, because you're hearing these instruments, you're able to more clearly hear these instruments versus the stereo mix, Yeah, it kind of reminds me, I had a SACD player in high school that my dad got me with this surround sound setup, and I got a taste of this back then, and those were some really powerful mixes, some of those. And in the right setup and context, it's cool. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The spatial audio has really kind of fleshed out some of these things. It's ruined some other things, but it's fleshed out some stuff. Yeah. When it's done well, it can be really cool. When it's done poorly, a lot of the old a lot of pop punk was converted to it from when I was a teenager and stuff, and it's quite bad.
Yeah.
but when it's done well, it's really cool. And yeah, just getting a nice set of speakers or headphones or stuff really helps you appreciate these things. I was literally listening to Daft Punk's Random Access Memories today again, and on the AirPods Max, and just I've never heard them at this high quality, and I'm just noticing new things, even though I've listened to that a million times.
Yeah.
So it's always really nice.
And back to the Get Back documentary, I heard that, so they had I think a mono source to deal with, and they somehow used crazy technology over Weta to isolate each instrument to be able to mix it to be the experience it is, and that stuff just blows my mind. What they
it's insane.
Yeah. So video games are a thing. And I do most of my gaming on consoles, and Nintendo Switch and PS4 and now 5 are my consoles.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's quite the journey to get that thing. I also got an OLED Switch this year, and that was remarkably easy. So first, I just want to recap kind of the journey of getting these consoles. So OLED Switch, I just had Twitter alerts on, and Target popped up. Just put order, came, no stress, very easy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
PS5.
That's another story. So I didn't even try last year in October when it launched, November. So it's okay, I'll get it for my birthday in June. I figure June, safe bet,
This will all blow over by June.
Yeah, absolutely.
June comes around. Hope of December 2020.
June comes around. It's a crap show. It seems to be getting harder and harder, not easier and easier. It seems like it almost felt like it was the easiest time to buy it, right? If you were there on the pre-order date in September or October, and after that, it was just bot city, and it was just impossible after that point.
Yes. 100%.
And so I turned Twitter alerts on in April, and from April through October, my phone would get so many notifications of these PS5s going up, and instantly I'd jump on my phone, hit the button, and I just never went through. I had my card charged at one place 4 or 5 times, and then canceled immediately, and it was quite just a journey to try to get mine. And I gave up, Matt. I gave up in October or November when a family member said, would you like the PS5 on your Christmas list? It's absolutely. So I stopped looking, and at that point, it's okay, we'll see what happens. And then after that happened, I get an email from Sony saying, you've been invited to a special drop where you're able to purchase one. It's
okay,
so I'm going to do this because maybe my family members are going to struggle as much as I did, most likely. And it was the easiest thing in the world. I showed up at the time with that special link. I was able to get my digital edition, the PS5, which is the one I wanted, because I used the disk drive of my PS4 maybe twice in its entire life. And I thought visually the digital edition kind of looked better and more designed to be that way. Not this like hump coming off of it.
Yeah, it's more symmetrical. Yeah,
even though like I thought, no, maybe I want the 4K UHD Blu-rays one day. But that was crossing my mind. It's like, maybe I get an Xbox Series S for that. I don't know. So I don't have an Xbox, by the way, yet. But I finally got one, and oh my God, what a relief, because I'm loving this thing. So that's my journey of getting the PS5. Only took most of the year of constant Twitter alerts to do it. And in the end, the Twitter alerts didn't do anything. I just had to wait for Sony to just tell me I could buy from them. And I kind of wish Sony did more of that, or at the very least, told these companies to stop bundling the PS5, and that's the only way they're being sold right now, basically, outside of Walmart. So what's your journey, Matt, 5 ownership?
So very similar to you. I knew it was going to be difficult, and I didn't really need it last year when it came out, so I didn't even try. I just kind of lived vicariously.
Yeah, because most of the games were cross-platform. You can play on a PS4; they look good still, right?
Sure. Yeah, and yeah, I just I was like, it's fine. I don't need it right now. The benchmark I set for myself was a little later than yours. It was August. Because I buy the new Madden every year. I hate it most years, but I do buy it every year because I want to play it. But I was like, by August, obviously they'll be in stock. Right. It'll be easy.
I should put this in context. For the PS4 and Xbox One came out in November. In June or July, at that time, I managed to get both of those systems heavily marked down because that's what the world was like back then. Like, I had this Target deal, and I got $100 off both of the consoles, and I sprang for it.
Yep.
Not the case anymore.
Not now. Nope. Different world. So at some point in the summer, I was like, okay, I want to jump on board. I want to get one. It's time. So I started kind of looking for them, kind of did the same thing you did, where I found these Twitter accounts that I can follow. I got so deep that I switched my to-do app from Things to Todoist, because I could have Zapier set up so that whenever one of those Twitter accounts tweeted, it created a task for me in Todoist to check that immediately. And then I would mark it off as done. And then and I was clicking these things. I had an order at Walmart in September. I think I got an order in at Walmart on their website. They said, we'll ship it in 3 weeks. And I was like, great, that's totally fine. I'll take it in 3 weeks.
I kind of wish we could just place an order today and ship it in a year when it's ready, kind of thing.
Yeah. Just let me stop thinking about this. Yeah. Tragically, 3 weeks go by. The delivery date is September 16th or whatever. And on the 16th, I get an email from Walmart that says, hey, your order's delayed. And I was like, okay, I kind of guessed that because it hasn't shipped yet. And then the next morning I get an email that says, hey, we canceled your order. Okay. So I'm back on it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm doing the same thing. I'm befriending scalpers on Twitter and DMing with them. I don't actually want to buy it from them, but I want to kind of figure out
how do
you, because there's this one guy, I forget his name right now, but I talk to relatively regularly, and he's every time one goes up, I'm able to get one. I'm like, how? The site always crashes. I get through to a CAPTCHA sort of thing that I just can't get past, or it has me done to do it over and over and over again. Yeah, the Walmart thing. Press and hold this for 30 seconds.
Yeah, and the thing where you have to wait because you're in line, but hey, I'm at work and I'm on my phone. I can't spend 20 minutes waiting to see what this will refresh.
Yeah. So long story short, in October of this year, so just only 2 months ago as we're recording this, that guy messaged me, and I just happened to be at work in the office and opened Twitter real quick to just see what was going on. And I saw it a DM. He's like, hey, GameStop is selling them for their members. You have to have be a part of their Power Up Club or whatever. And it's $20 a year. And I was like, okay, so I immediately signed up for the subscription. Right. The cookie on my browser wasn't updating to note that I was a member, so the buy button was grayed out, and I was opening different browsers to try to get one that would work. They were doing the bundles as well, so I had to buy it with a year of PlayStation Plus and 2 games. I did want the 2 games, so it was kind of okay, but it was still more than the normal price. But
yeah,
I eventually bought it from GameStop with one of their stupid bundles, and now I get Game Informers delivered to my house every month. But it worked, and now I don't have to think about it. It's no longer a point of stress. But it was really, I think, the point where I set up a Zapier automation to create tasks whenever a Twitter account tweeted that, hey, they're available, that I was like, oh, I don't want this to be my life. I want to just get this done.
Oh God.
But that's kind of how it worked for me, was it'll be fine, then a little bit of desperation, Walmart telling me it would be okay, and then telling me, no, we don't got you, I'm sorry. And then just paying more than I wanted to for it, but no longer have to worry, and that's nice.
What games came with your bundle?
It came with Ghost of Tsushima, which I'd never played on PS4, so
cool.
I'm actually in the middle of that right now.
I want to upgrade to the Ultimate whatever with the DLC and stuff, so yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah.
So it came with that one, and then it came with NBA 2K22, which honestly I have never even opened. I should probably just trade in to GameStop or something.
Yeah, I wish with that you could just swap the game to a different game easily. I don't know. That's probably not a thing.
Yeah, like one of the bundles came with Ratchet and Clank and some other game I didn't care about. This one came with Ghost of Tsushima and another game I didn't care about. And really, when you're buying a PS5 or an Xbox One, it's really whichever buy button works for you.
Absolutely. Totally agree with
so I could have gone either way, but that's the buy button that functioned. So
cool. And you were upgrading from a PS4 base or Pro, or is this your first PlayStation?
PS4 Pro.
PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And so my experience with PS4 Pro is my father-in-law one day asked me, he was watching TV. I was remote playing. It's like, is that thing broken? Because that thing was like a jet engine, right? And like, I said, no, it's just the fan to keep it cool. Like,
it's doing its best.
Yeah. And I would always feel bad about like remote playing if they're watching TV, especially I'd be in the basement sometimes remote playing and be like, I can't do this, people. This is just not nice.
It's not stealthy at all.
It's not, no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is honestly like I play a lot of PS4 games still on my PS5, but like it's dead silent, and that makes such a difference. And
it's cool. I did an hour plus of Returnal the other night, and I walk up and like feel all around the PlayStation 5, and it's like, it's not cold, but it's not hot. It's like it's like feels colder than my router, kind of. Like it's like impressive how cool that thing runs. I kind of theorized part of the reason they designed it to need to stand in both horizontal and vertical is because if you have a stand horizontally, that gives you more airflow underneath as well. That's probably great for cooling, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't know what I have the one with the disk drive, so it's a little different. But for me, it's really bulbous, so it would just like rock back and forth if you didn't have the stand.
It does that still on the digital one too. It's designed curved.
Yeah.
I want to look. I haven't looked at what it looks like without the shells off, because that'd be just interesting. The innards.
Yeah, for sure. I one day I'll eventually, because it comes with a paltry like 680 gigs or something of accessible storage, so like eventually I'll have to buy an M2 drive and pop it in there and find out.
On my Christmas list is a 2 terabyte one. I'm not sure if I'll get it this year. I really want 2 terabytes, so because at 1 terabyte I feel like I'll want to upgrade that at some point. 2 feels comfy because that's like 2 and then the 6, because you get to keep the internal, so it'll be 2 plus. And we say it's paltry, but it is more than PS4, I think, was like 500 to start, and then we got a terabyte with the Pros.
Yeah.
So it is a bit more than we had at the beginning of the last gen, but everything else needs to be internally. I've got like a 4 terabyte external for all my PS4 games.
Yep, I've got a Samsung externals plugged in from my PS4 games now because I didn't have room for everything.
It is remarkable though, like playing those off the external versus let me move this to the internal. It's so much faster. So whenever I want to play something that is on that drive, I'll just move it over, and that's a much better experience.
Gotcha. It's a really good experience overall. I'm glad I'm finally able to have it, but it was an adventure getting there.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And are you tempted by the new color shells and stuff for these, the purple or the blue or anything?
No.
I
thought about them.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, like if they had a black one, I think maybe they do have a black one.
They do have a black.
I might get that, but like it's just a big frickin' thing.
It is. My wife didn't realize how big it was when she was like saying, yes, you can buy this. She saw it's like kind of big. It's like I said, it's like I told her it can be quiet now.
Yes, which is great.
Yeah, you remember that old one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the line to get. I love the curvy, weird design. It reminds me of the PS3 original, which I also thought was just beautiful. Like, I love the weird Sony designs, like
the big chunky.
Yeah, I do like them more than the slim iterations.
Yeah, Sony definitely has like. They kind of go through phases, right? Like the PS4 is really angular and kind of compact and everything. I think the PS4 was their best looking console, but the original PS4, not the Slim or the Pro. But and then this time they're just like, what if everything was curved and huge?
The one thing I think is a bummer is the VR camera adapter thing. It appears the front USB port, for whatever reason, isn't able to handle the camera, so you have to plug it in the back, which is annoying because I don't want that plugged in all the time. I kind of plug it in when I play VR, so I have to get back there and plug it in.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit obnoxious. Yeah. Do you have the VR stuff for PlayStation?
I don't.
Okay.
I've actually never done VR ever.
Okay. It's fun. Yeah, when VR 2 comes out at some point next year, you should check it out.
I'm sure I'll be frantically looking for places to buy that from. As well.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'll be easier to get VR2 because it's subsetted to only PlayStation 5 owners. So we'll see.
Sure, it'll be easy.
I'm looking forward to that because I'll watch movies in the more crappy display in the PSVR 1, which isn't. It's a good experience, but you can tell it's not like 4K in each eye type thing.
Yeah,
having that like with a super high res display in each eye will be just that's gonna be how I want to watch movies from here on out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the games. What have you been playing PS5? And this year in general.
So the games that have stood out to me this year, I think Resident Evil Village was my game of the year.
Yeah.
Every couple years or every couple Resident Evils, I just fall in love with it. Like I like don't care about this one, don't care about that one, and then this is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yes.
Like Resident Evil 4 stood out, the RE2 remake from a couple years ago stood out, and now Resident Evil Village stood out as well. I just love the game. I love the new game plus. Like I almost never finish games, but like this one I finished it, and there's a new game plus mode where you carry over all your upgrades and all your weapons and everything. And I'm like, yes, I would like to play through again and just wreck everything in the first like half of the
totally
game.
OP in the new game plus.
Yeah, like just one shot taking down werewolves. It's great. So that one just like, and it's fun, kind of, I guess, along with the lines of like Midnight Mass. It's a campy, fun story. It's just kind of like a horror roller coaster ride, like a theme park. I've heard some people describe it as. Like you're not going to be like scared out of your skin necessarily playing it.
Okay.
Although there's one bit that's a little like they get real creepy.
Yeah.
But it's more like fun horror.
It's like action
really
type.
Horror.
Yeah. I get very scared in some horror games. Like I have a video of me. I was playing PT, and I have a video of me just flipping the hell out.
I mean, well, that's PT for you.
That's PT. It is a creepy game.
Which you could probably only play on that PS, or I guess it's a PS4. If you still have it on your PS4, that's a very valuable PS4.
Is what it's on. Yeah, it's still in there in my little carrying bag. Like I have a little bag I can carry the PS4 around pretty easily. I haven't even looked. I doubt there's such a thing for PS5. A little.
There's like a 2-month gym membership, and then you can get the bag.
Right. Yeah. I did. I purchased it during the Black Friday sale. I will say. Great time to buy PS5 is right before the Black Friday PSN sale. Like mine arrived, and a week later, Ratchet and Clank's 50, Village was 20 years. Like I got all the great Returnal I got on sale. Like I got all the great games for PS5 on sale. Like Demon's Souls, I got a nice discount. Like I got all of them. Like
nice, yeah. No, there's some great stuff, and if you can get them on sale, that's even better. Ironically, I think most of my other games that I really kind of stood out to me this year are on PC or Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So, Metroid Dread is the other one that really fell in love with it.
Are you on the original or OLED?
I'm on the Switch Lite, actually. I haven't even played it on a TV. I'm just playing handheld on the cheapest, worst Switch.
Yeah. You like the Lite.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so good. The best thing I can say about it is at the start of the game, there's an AI thing that just tells you like where to go, and it just says go up. And that's like the only directional instruction the game ever gives you. Like it never tells you where to go next. But like through like the level design and just like how like the systems work, you just kind of figure out where to go. And I always get lost in games like this. I always get lost. I never know where to go next. I'm always stuck, and I'm just like, ugh, I quit. This one, I don't know how they do it. It's brilliant, but like I always knew what to do. I was always able to move forward. Like whenever I got stuck, it was just a matter of like, okay, slow down, look at the map. Like, what can you do now? What power did you just get that you can now go to these different places that you were stuck before? It's such brilliant game design, and it's so fun. And like, you just move around. Like, you just, by the end of the game, you're moving around like an absolute ninja. Like, it's unbelievable.
It feels
like how
great.
It feels so good.
Yeah, it does.
So I really adore that game as well. Like, it's I just love it.
Yeah, this is the game that finally got me into Metroid. I had tried Super Metroid. I'd tried some of the other Metroid games. I would always bounce because, as you said, you get lost. I don't know what the heck to do. Metroid Dread, especially in that OLED Switch. Oh boy, is that beautiful. That thing.
Yeah.
And it's the OLED Switch. I'm going to be replaying like games like Alien Isolation on the thing just because like it's just going to look so good on that thing. Like, it just looks good. But I will say this game got me into Metroid. So it's my first Metroid game I've actually played and finished, and I 100%ed it. I got all the collectibles.
Wow.
And my thumbs felt like they were going to fall apart. I needed some guides for how to do some of those moves because you spend an hour trying to get this one stupid thing because you get to shine spark in some weird way. And I would spend an hour trying to master this ninja move. And oh boy, the satisfaction and just glees of excitement when I actually pulled it off were like enthralling and just And then
absolutely.
I got a little worried when someone said this is so difficult. And like the main story and campaign, I didn't find it like it was challenging but fair. I thought it's like, okay, everything's being telegraphed as to what the boss is going to be doing. Seems like it's doable. Some bosses I have to take on many times, but it always spits you out right before the boss, so not a big deal. And the final boss took me quite a bit of mastering, but once you master the boss, it's amazing. Like now that final boss, I can just take on and not barely get hit because I just know how to do it.
Yep, that was the thing for me. Is I was like, oh, like the bosses are just destroying me. Like I don't know how I'm ever going to beat this thing. And like I'm like, oh, I can hit him here, and so I'm trying to do like all my damage in like 3 seconds, and I'm unleashing all my missiles at the same time and everything. And then it's like, no, you slow down, you see what they're going to do, you just avoid damage. You should try to avoid damage as much as possible, and you can dodge like everything that they're going to throw at you. And again, like I like die, and then you do it and you take like no damage, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But like it definitely, I would definitely say it's a hard game, and there's like 0 accessibility features, which is really not good. But it's definitely a challenging game, but it's not impossible. I wouldn't say it's on like the level of like a Dark Souls or that sort of thing where it's like trying to punish you. You just need to pay attention and slow down. Like that would be my big thing. Is like, if you keep dying at something, just like how can you do it slower? That'd be my tip.
And most bosses have a way to heal yourself and get more missiles throughout the fight. Most do, which is cool. So after beating this game, I went on a journey, Matt. I played through the entire Metroid series and then replayed Metroid Dread to cap it off. And what a journey that was. So I went back to Metroid Zero Mission through an emulator on my iPad, which is just beautiful on there. Game. And then Samus Returns on my 3DS. I dusted that 3DS XL, the new 3DS XL off. I forget how much I loved the 3D screen of the thing. That thing, it's cool tech. I missed it.
It's cool tech.
Yeah,
still cool tech.
It really is. Like I missed the 3DS XL. That thing is great. So I played that one.
I wonder if the next Switch will have 3. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Anyway.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So played. That was probably the longest of the Samus Returns, probably the longest one. But that's super enjoyable going back to 3DS, and kind of want to see what else I missed on that console because I have a bunch of those. And then after that, or wait, was Super Metroid? I forget. Super Metroid. I played that on my Switch. I think that was third. And then Metroid Fusion was another emulated game on the iPad. And that one was super enjoyable. That one was so like, go here, do this, go here, do that, and so different from all the other Metroids. It's kind of interesting. Like, it felt like, so Samus Returns, and then Metroid Fusion were just kind of outliers of the Metroid being totally different and wacky games. And like 1, 3, 5 are like the standard Metroids. It's kind of interesting. And I didn't realize until playing all these games, like one of my favorite film franchises is Alien. And oh boy, are there so many Alien references and vibes in this game, especially Metroid Fusion. And like Samus Returns was basically aliens where you're going to their planet and just destroying all of the Metroids, like you're destroying all the aliens. Like it has a lot of parallels to that franchise in really cool ways, which I just appreciate. And then as I was playing all these games, I was getting references from Dread. It's like, oh, that boss, that's Dread. Oh, that's the origins of that guy. And it was fun to see all the references and the story kind of shape up and like connect to the final part. So that was fun to just like experience the story journey. And the cool thing about Metroid,
that's probably the way to that's probably the way to go for the story, because I always forget the story of Metroid games. Like I remember the game and I enjoy them and everything, but like the story has never been a factor for me in any of them.
No, that's not the main draw of them.
So like this one, I'm like, I started the game and I was like, should I know who this character is? Are they a character? Do they have a name? I don't know. I'm just here for the shooting and the boss fights and all that stuff.
And then there's a prologue thing that opens up Dread that kind of catch you up. So it was like kind of interesting to see that stuff play out in the games themselves. And the cool thing about Metroid is they're not long games. Like you could play through all of them like each game maybe in 6 hours a piece, except for Returns, which is probably like 12 or more. But they're all pretty, as far as games go, I could play a single game for much longer than the entirety of this franchise. But I will say I got my Switch email from Nintendo, and so I played 147 hours of Switch this year. 47 of those hours was in Dread, doing that 100% and then second playthrough.
Wow.
So for a game that you can finish in like 10 hours, I spent almost 50 hours.
You got your money's worth.
I did. And I haven't even done the new game plus the hard difficulty because I wanted to do the second playthrough just like as like a master. As like, oh, let me just go through.
Yeah, that's how I like to play too. Like my second playthrough isn't like, let's not make this harder. Let's make me feel like a god just going through this world.
And then the other stuff I played on Switch was Skyward Sword, 41 hours. I'm just about at the finish. I've got like a couple more things to do there. I played 14 hours of Mario Golf Super Rush as well.
Okay.
I also played a bit of Bowser's Fury. Didn't finish that. Brilliant Diamond for Pokemon. New Pokemon Snap. All those were very enjoyable. Very good games. And then Tetris Connected I got for my OLED Switch, and that is a beautiful game on that console. With all the
that's a great Tetris game. I'm trying to find this email to see if I got this. Do you know when you got this from Nintendo?
It was a while ago, and there's a login you can go to check your own status. Switch. It's switch.nintendo.com/year-in-review is the URL. Check out like your year in review, and that'll pull up everything.
There it is. Okay.
It's kind of amazing. Like it shows my OLED Switch in white as like the image because it knows that's my current console, which I find just a nice touch.
Nice.
Does it show a Switch Lite in your case? Does it like?
It shows me an OLED Switch.
Oh, I thought it was like
I didn't want to tell you.
Oh, that's a shame. I wish it did that. That'd be cool.
Let's see. I logged 101 hours on Switch this year. So actually not much.
Yeah.
Let's see. My top game was Metroid Dread. I played 14 hours.
Nice.
And then Pokemon Brilliant Diamond after that, and Mario Golf after that. So
yeah, the Mario Golf was fun. A bit short. Campaign had some struggles of jumping where I couldn't get to. That was a bit of a aggravation, I should say.
Yeah. Mario. That
it could have been better.
It's not the. It could have been a lot better.
Yes, it could have been.
But this is to talk about the things that we liked this year, not the things that disappointed.
So the very last game I played on my PS4 Pro was Life is Strange True Colors, and I've enjoyed all the Life is Strange games. And this one was especially good. The great story, great mechanics, and just more open of a world than the previous ones. We were able to explore the town a bit and meet these characters, and it's I'm a sucker for like Telltale games and like narrative stuff where it's not too stressful. You're just like enjoying this kind of movie which is interactive, and Life is Strange Colors, super good. super good.
Okay. Yeah. That's one that I need to get to.
Yeah.
I need to get to. Even my wife was like, I'd like to watch you play that one. So
yeah. No, it's cool.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. It deals with a lot of like issues of the heart,
Okay.
And PS5 stuff I've been getting into. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart I finished and really, really enjoyed just how the game plays and feels. The haptics on this console are wild, I must say.
Yeah.
They really are.
It's really, I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I do, but it's really, really good. The Astro's Playroom game as well.
Yes.
Is...
And like the speaker on this DualSense actually sounds good. The PS4 one sounded like crap. This one actually has pretty good fidelity with the speaker on that controller, which is just interesting.
It's pretty decent. I assume most games will stop using it eventually, but
probably
right now.
Yeah, I have to remember to turn it off if I'm like in a room with somebody. It's like with headphones on or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not to go back to Madden, but in Madden 2022, it uses the speaker to like have to do like just random things. But there's no setting to turn it off. So like I have the TV muted, and it's just like the tackle, I think, sound effects go through it. So like it's totally muted, and then I just hear out of my controller like, it's like why?
Someone reviewing Astros did an experience of like turning off the TV and just experiencing the game through the controller, and said that was a kind of interesting experience because it's used so much in cool ways.
Interesting.
You can control the controller sound output within like the quick bar thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm still learning the UI of this console. It's a bit different.
Yeah, there's like two menus. They're different but similar. It's a little strange, but you figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
You do.
But Astros is so good. I was just getting so much joy, especially that final boss in that game. I kind of thought they would do 5 stages of this boss to progressively go through the generations, but that did not happen. But still great.
Still great.
Yes.
Still great.
But yeah, the haptics are wild. So the triggers where you're having like a single button kind of act as 2 buttons is wild to me. Like I thought could be a gimmick, but it seems like they've nailed it. And so Nintendo kind of started this. They don't have the triggers like PlayStation does. It feels like Xbox should do this so everybody can use the same kind of haptic stuff across all the platforms. Like I hope they do that at some point and rip off Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah, and like the resistive triggers, like that should be like that's great as well. Like there's like I play some racing games and like the brake is like harder to press like at higher speeds, and like you just like it's little things. I can't
wait for Gran Turismo to take advantage of that controller.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
Like on the Switch you feel the stuff, but there's so many more motors in the DualSense where it's just like you can feel it going across the controller in just very cool ways. Yes. Returnal is the game I am obsessed with right now. This, as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of the Alien franchise. All sorts of Alien vibes in this game as well. This is one of those loop games, those rogue games where Selena crash lands on this planet, and she realizes, oh, that's my dead body over there, and I've been through this before. And she's trying to find the source of the signal. The combat feels just amazing. It feels like, Destiny, but better as far as the gunplay and just how everything feels. The DualSense is fully taken advantage of in really cool ways. Like, it just feels great to play. When you, like, successfully do, like, an overload thing, it uses the speaker on the controller to say you got a reload earlier than normal.
Nice.
The challenge, it's like much harder than Metroid Dread, and I've put in some long runs and get wiped out by this boss. And just put it down for a little bit. But when I was doing my heart after I beat 2 of the bosses so far, and I could feel my heart rate jumping. And by the end, I'd pull up my Apple Watch, and the first boss was like 114 beats per minute at the end of the first boss. The second boss was like 130 beats just sitting there, just like in this super intense moment. And I was wondering why it didn't alert me that I should check my health, because I have it set to 120, I think. Yeah, I don't know if that's good for me, getting my heart rate moving that way, but this game certainly gets the blood moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a game that really takes advantage of the PS5 if you want a showpiece.
Yeah. It's built for PS5. It's beautiful. Like, this game is stunning. It does the thing where you can hold the trigger halfway to do zoom, or the full way to do like your secondary weapon, and that's been cool. And the vibrations are just great. SSD is amazing how fast everything is. So I've died like 60 or 70 times leading up to this third boss. And this latest run, I'm doing a thing, because I guess this is in game in 2 acts. Once you get through the third boss, you're then brought to fourth area or level, and that's where you'll restart from then on out. So this latest run, I've probably put in 20 or 30 hours in trying to get through this first act. I'm doing the thing where they added a feature where you can save. Sorta. You can suspend your cycle, and if you reopen the game, you'll go back to that point. So I have the feature on for this game where you can upload your save data to PSN, and I've been taking advantage of that in this latest run because I figure 30 hours in, I just want to get through Act 1, then I'll play the game as it should for the next run until I hit another point 30 hours in where it's like, okay, enough of this. And I'm having a super great run with this method because I'm able to get super maximum health this way. But I should say the SSD makes this so much better because everything you can close out the game, upload it, download it, reopen the game from nothing, and you're back in the game with, in 10, 15 seconds, you're up and running again. Like, the SSD is like just so transformative to how games can be experienced.
Yeah. I mean, basically all the games that were built for the PS5 have, in my experience at least, have effectively no load times.
We're back to the cartridge days.
Yeah. Exactly. The best part and maybe only good part of cartridges.
Right, yeah. And super fast. I also been loving the little activity cards. So like I've been replaying Miles Morales. I played it on PS4, but I'm replaying it again on PS5. And the reflections in the windows are so beautiful. But the cards are really informative. It's like 15 minutes to do this story mission you're on. Okay, I can finish that versus, it says 45 minutes. No, let me not do that. Ratchet and Clank had that same thing where it's like, this will take you X number of time. And that's been super handy. And in Astro's Playroom, I used the cards to help hunt down some trophies. I was missing a couple of the artifacts and had little videos helping you out a little bit. So it's kind of cool having those cards and kind of helping you out throughout your journey.
Yeah, I've definitely used the in Ratchet and Clank. I remember using the you have like 17 minutes left most likely in this segment. And I was like, that is a great thing to know.
It really is.
In 17 minutes, I'll have a good save point.
Yeah, because otherwise you have no idea what to expect.
Like, when should I put the controller down? Like, when's a good time? And that's great.
Yeah. Did you enjoy Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah, I dug it. It's a series that I think I like. I never quite love it, but it's a gorgeous game. It's a showpiece. Like, it was one of the first things I installed after I got the PS5 because I just wanted to you buy a new console and you just want to feel the upgrade, and that game really does that.
It's so beautiful, that game. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. The animations are wonderful. And obviously they're just really leaning into the SSD and the let's just load a million worlds all at once and you can bounce between whatever ones you like. We don't care.
That lightning gun was phenomenal. That was
their weapons are always great.
That was a great one. Yeah, trying to think what else. I picked up a lot of other games but I haven't touched them yet. It's funny, Returnal, I've spent so much time and I could have finished that. I have Guardians of the Galaxy on the SSD waiting for me. It's like
I've heard good things about that one too. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the little game that I want to kind of shout out is it's available on the iPhone, but also like PlayStation and Switch and Xbox. It's available everywhere. It's called Overboard, and it's a adventure game, like an old school text-based adventure game, where you're just going. You're basically playing a woman who just murdered her husband on a boat. The boat is about a day away from New York City, and by the time you need to somehow, in the time between now and then when you arrive at New York, convince people on the boat that you didn't do it, that you're innocent, and it's all just conversations with people. It's moving to the right rooms at the right time to talk to people and give them the information that you need to give them. It's really, really clever, and it's also a time loop game, so you kind of like you get to the end and it's like, oh, you're guilty and you go to jail, or like, oh, you tricked them all and you got away with the money, and like there's like so many ways it can go. And the most horrifying thing was I let my wife play it once after I'd struggled with it a few times, and she succeeded immediately. So she's much better at getting away with murder her spouse than I would be.
Not good skills to learn about.
Yeah. So, but it's really, really good. It's like $5 on the iPhone, I think, which is where I'm playing it, and it's super fun game. Even if you don't like the sort of like little thing, like it's mostly conversations, but there's also like, would you like to push this person over the side of the boat as well? Like,
oh god, that sounds
so
great.
It's a little game.
Any what other platform?
It's on everything basically.
Okay.
iPhone, Switch, PlayStation, whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's I think cheapest on the iPhone. It works great on the iPhone and iPad.
Yeah.
So you're just like tapping text choices most of the time. So it's pretty easy to play.
Yeah. Alien Isolation is also on iOS now. I kind of want to try that on my iPad Pro with OLED, with the mini LED, because that would look beautiful. I hear it's like a 10 or 20 gigabyte download. It's crazy. I hear it's really well done there. You need a big amount of storage for it.
Yeah. That reminds me of Divinity Original Sin 2 is on the iPad, and that's like a massive PC game, and it's just like I didn't even play much of it, but like I loved it on PC, and I installed it, and like, yeah, this is the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like really impressive to see it running on the iPad, and like with mouse and keyboard controls, if you have the Magic Keyboard or a mouse like synced up and everything, like it's like this is like an actual PC game. This is very weird.
So on PS5, I've been doing a lot of remote play, and I started by just doing it DualSense paired to my iPad Pro, and a lot of the features do carry over. You get the haptics and stuff, but it seems like a couple things weren't 100% there, so I did this thing where I enabled the remote play for a secondary account on the PlayStation, and when you connect to it, then you turn on the controller, which is talking locally to the PS5 in the same room, so it's getting all the native PS5 stuff, and then you assign the controller to your main account, and then you're off to the gates, and on your main account, using the DualSense pair to the PS5 instead of your iPad. And there's this little trick where you have to change the... so it'll say... When you do this, though, it'll say remote play enabled or something as a banner at the very top. So the trick I learned on Reddit was you have to go into system like settings for console language and change it. So I switched between English United Kingdom and English United States. And once you do that switch, it'll get rid of that banner, and everything's as it should be. So that's a little trick for those that want to use the DualSense paired to their console. Because the other annoying thing is once you pair the DualSense to your iPad, it's no longer paired to your PlayStation. So it's like on my Christmas list is a second DualSense, just so I don't have to repair it when I have that.
Yep. Yeah. I use the Remote Play app too, and I have a second DualSense controller, which I bought actually last November because I guess it was the only PlayStation thing I could buy. And so that's paired with my iPad. But you're right, it does rumble, but it doesn't do any of the like adaptive triggers or speaker things or anything.
Yeah, which is a shame. And also 3D audio doesn't work, I don't think. It'll just do stereo output, which it sounds like which is fine in some situations. Like it's nice just to be able to have like my AirPods on, like AirPods Max on, connected to the iPad. I wish Overcast had a feature where I could mix Overcast as far as how loud it was, so I could have it mix, because you'll get both audio sources. You'll get Overcast playing on the iPad alongside your game. I just wish there was a way to mix Overcast to make it softer or louder.
Yeah,
there's no way to do that.
They're both like full volume or something.
Yeah. That'd be cool if they could have that little feature. I don't know.
I have the exact same problem actually, because I have HomePods as my like TV speakers.
Yeah.
And they're like paired to the Apple TV, and they're using like that new thing that's in tvOS 15 where you can like use it. Yeah, the ARC thing. So like I'm getting my PS5 audio through the HomePods.
Does that work pretty well?
It works pretty well. There's a slight delay, but it turns out in games you don't really notice it.
Right. You're not looking at
it's not really an issue. So it's worked totally fine for me. But I do have the same issue is like, I'd like to like play this game, like a racing game or something where the audio doesn't really matter as much. And I want to listen to a podcast at the same time, and I want to AirPlay that to the HomePod. But the game and the audio is going to be the same volume.
So one thing I feel kind of weird about doing, but often when I'm home alone, I will have the AirPods Max on my head connected to my iPhone in transparency mode, and transparency mode is so good on the AirPods Max that I will be listening to my game through the TV speakers concurrently to AirPods Max, listening to a podcast at a certain volume. And that's a surprisingly great experience because transparency mode is so good.
That would work, yeah.
I like to give that a shot because it's weird, but it's great at the same time.
Okay. That's outside the box thinking, but it might work.
Yeah, that transparency mode and those Maxes are great. Yeah. I did touch on Final Fantasy VII Remake this year. I want to get back into that since we get the free upgrade, I guess, today. But I think that's it as far as PS5 stuff that I've been into in gaming in general. Anything else you want to touch on here?
No, I think I played a bunch of games this year, but I think we hit the ones that I really, really loved.
Cool. So let's wrap up with movies. Not a lot to say here, I don't think. Just a couple of movies hit this year for me. Fast 9 was my first movie theater experience of the year, and that was a cool one to have in theaters.
Congratulations.
And then right after that hit, we had another big surge, and I haven't been able to go back since. So,
yep.
My one light. Yep. That was my moment to experience theaters for a second.
Very nice. Yes. I saw one movie in theaters. It was Dune. That was the one that got me back. That's the only one I've seen since then. And everyone since I'm like, only in theaters, I'll wait. It's fine.
Right. Spider-Man is killing me right now. I so want to see that, but I'm not allowed to go. So I'm going to have to wait the 90 days to see that. I'm glad the window's shorter than it used to be, but still I have to avoid podcasts. They're talking. It's like,
Yep.
No Time to Die. Remarkable film. I saw that PSVR is my way of watching that one at home. Mm-hmm. So good. Such a good wrap up to the Daniel Craig era. Did you check that one out?
No, I haven't seen. I actually haven't seen a Bond movie since Casino Royale.
Oh wow!
So I'm way behind. I'm cripplingly behind. So I'm just waiting for the new Bond, I think, to come around so I can start over.
What else I just want to mention the Snyder Cut came out this year. That was wild, and iPad's a great place to watch it with being a 4x3 movie.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I watched Spencer, which is a movie about Princess Diana. Okay. But it's not like a typical biopic or anything. Like it's very like a focused story about a very like small amount of time, and like it's a pressure cooker of a movie. It's just like super tense, and it's more of it. Oh, it's so good. It's really, really well done. I think it was shot on like 16 millimeter film, and like it just really,
came out
really
to
well
like
done.
iTunes, right? I think I saw it on
did,
the banner.
yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So I think it's it's like a $20 rental, but I was really looking forward to that one, and it delivered. Not hugely into like stories about royalty or anything, but like this is a different thing.
Yeah. The other one I want to mention, Last Duel by Ridley Scott. So Ridley Scott is my favorite director. Directed Alien, my favorite franchises. Blade Runner, Gladiator, Thelma and Louise. He's done a lot. And so Last Duel, it kind of to me seems like part of a trilogy to me. It's like it's like a historical fiction or historical nonfiction dramatization. So like. It's done in 3 acts. It's basically about a woman that gets raped. A pretty serious topic. It's shown the same series of events is shown from 3 points of view: her husband's, the attacker, and hers. And it's just super well done. This is like Ridley Scott at his best. Like, so Kingdom of Heaven director's cut. I'm not sure if you've seen that. It's like this.
I have. Yeah.
Isn't that so? It's like the character development in this is like up there with that as far as like you truly care about these characters by the end, and like you're learning about this world they're in. And the 3-act structure is kind of fun because it's like here it just says like Act 1 or whatever. It like literally has hard breaks where
they literally have like title cards.
Yeah, title cards. Yeah. Okay. So you could watch this in 3 nights if you wanted to. I watched it in one go, but you could like say it's like a 2.5-hour movie, so you could watch it in 3 goes if you wanted to. Yeah, like I think in the future, like I'll have like a Gladiator, then Kingdom of Heaven, then Last Duel kind of trilogy kind of like experience where I go through all 3 of those kind of back to back because they all feel very connected and like as a
piece. And it seems like Ridley Scott won't get many more opportunities to do these kind of big historical, very high budget.
Yeah.
And this might be the last one of those, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, they're not in fashion anymore. So I heard it kind of bombed at the box office.
Yeah, I don't know if COVID was anything to blame with, like, it seems like only Marvel gets theaters moving. So I don't know if that was to blame at all, but the theaters run did not do well, which is sad.
Yeah, and I think, was it theaters only?
For a bit.
Or is it?
It's now,
okay.
You now buy it on iTunes and stuff.
Okay. I need to check that out because, I enjoyed Gladiator, loved Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut specifically, of course.
Yes. Much different film.
Yes, much shockingly different film.
Yeah.
And then, this is definitely on my radar, but it was only in theaters originally, and then I just was like, well, I'll catch it whenever it comes out. So if it's out, then it's something I should do on my...
It's amazing. He had 2 movies come out back-to-back this year. Last Gucci I haven't seen because it's still theater only, which I heard is good, but not as good as Last Duel. Last Duel I heard.
Yeah.
And I saw it and loved it, and have seen it twice now. Last thing, Matrix Resurrections. I just finished watching this before we started recording.
Yeah.
I loved it. I had a smile in my mouth many times where it just like lit up in glee. Earlier this month, I did a rewatch of the trilogy. That was a cool experience. And how it recontextualizes that trilogy is just a lot of fun. I don't know what other non-spoiler stuff we want to talk about before we dive into some spoiler chat to wrap up the episode.
I will say I love the first Matrix. It's one of my like quintessential films growing up.
Yeah.
The second and third ones I don't love as much, but I would say I'm more on the Defender side of them. I think that they're better than they get credit for. I didn't love this movie.
Okay.
I really thought it was I absolutely appreciate, and again, without getting into spoilers, I appreciate that it is not just another movie of the same thing. They did a different thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't enjoy it as much.
Okay.
As I was hoping I would. I went in with like a very open mind. Like I wanted to love this movie and everything. Love the Wachowskis. Basically everything they've done. Which again, they in general, I think, get a bad rap, even though
right.
Even like Jupiter Ascending has like things that are pretty great about it.
Oh, for sure.
Just didn't love it on my first watch, but now I want to watch it again and see what I think about it, kind of knowing what it is.
What were your expectations going into this thing? Because I didn't watch any trailers or I didn't see anything about this.
All I watched was the original trailer. That's kind of like the first trailer that actually showed like footage from the film, and then I kind of went on a media blackout and had no idea what it was going to be.
What the trailer showed, what kind of idea did it give you for the movie?
It showed mostly the early movie stuff with like Neo is kind of like living a life in the Matrix, and Neil Patrick Harris is his therapist, and he's just kind of listless and doesn't. It's just not, we don't know what's going on with him, and then there's some vague action shots that they just show on screen briefly.
Gotcha. Okay, I want to rewatch. I want to watch the trailers the first time. That was saying.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think rewatching it with knowing what it is, because let's get in the spoilers. So right from here on out, we're gonna spoil The Matrix. It's on HBO Max right now. You can watch it.
Spoiler horn blows right now. Yeah.
Yes. So it's kind of wild. Like they just. Video games, right? They just like said original trilogy, what you saw, that's a video game, but it actually happened. It was kind of both in this new version of the Matrix. And it's like, oh, Neil Patrick's is the new architect, and this guy is much worse than that old architect we had.
Yeah, it was. This might be the most meta movie I have seen in a long, long time.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of like. They never actually like stare at the camera and like say this is a movie. Those were movies, but we know that those were movies. Like, but they get real close to it.
New Morpheus is like playing the movie behind him, or the seeds is like wild.
Yeah, and like one of the opening scene is like the literal like the same. They're recreating the opening scene of the first Matrix, but there's like people in it watching it happen. Like
and music is lining up, like the end credit music, and the actual ending of the movie. It's like, oh, both of them are flying away. The same music hits, and it blew my mind that like I thought, oh, Trinity's the one now, but then at the very end they both fly, so it's like they're both the one, I guess.
Yeah, it's. it's so hard to talk about, but it's like
I also thought they needed to be by the Earth's core because it's still warm. I guess that doesn't. They figured out a way to stay warm higher up with this new city. I do need to rewatch it just to hear those explanations again about how they started the cities, and there was a lot of explanations that I would benefit from hearing again. It was fun to see the characters like 20 years later, whatever it's been. The little girl, Donald, and Naomi, as that elder now, and it's kind of wild to see just the different characters. I need to get like freeze frame or have some YouTube video watching of the all the characters they fought with when they came back that were like callbacks.
Yeah. And like there was one guy in there's the fight scene with like agent the new Agent Smith where there's like these like they call them bugs kind of like perched around them, and there's like one guy yelling in like French, and he like is that the Merovingian from
Yes.
Okay.
yes, that's who that is.
It like wasn't landing. I was like, who is this guy? Is that the guy that like Neo like took the body of? But no, it was
the first dude that was very kempt and clean, and now is 180 from that.
Yeah, he's a mess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love the moment when Trinity was like, stop calling me that. That's not my name. And like,
yeah,
that was great. And
yeah, that was
pretty. That was pretty
good.
Like entice her to like leave. Of course, yeah, she's a mom. She's gonna like be drawn away from Neo right now, and she snapped out of it. I love that moment.
Yeah, she's just like immediately like, oh, you guys mean nothing to me.
Yes,
this is all an illusion. Yeah, it was. I definitely need to watch it again. I feel like I don't know. It just something didn't connect with me. This is a weird thing, but like Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Which is a totally different movie.
Totally different.
But I watched it the first time, didn't really like it.
Okay.
Which is an unusual reaction to
that because that's just like an adrenaline rush from start to end.
Yeah. I rewatched it again like a year or two later and loved it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how much of this is just like the mood I was in, even though I was like amped up to watch it. Like I was ready to like whatever it was. I was like, bring me weird Wachowski. And yeah, I don't know. Did you see the post credits?
I did.
Scene in it? Okay. Honestly, I think I knocked a star off the review for that.
The post credit wasn't great. I love the joke of Warner Brothers, our parent company, is making us make a fourth Matrix. That was great.
I was like, how true is that?
Like,
I was like literally, were they like, we're making a Matrix? Are you going to do it or no? Because we're doing it no matter what. But like, yeah, that's very, very meta.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what game Neo was designing there on his computer.
Yeah, and like there's like modals, I think they were calling them.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure what those were exactly. I'm pretty into computers, but I didn't know what that meant exactly. Like, it's not a modal pop-up that he was designing. It was something else.
Right. They love Neo's new power of like force pushing things, and that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll do Resurrections 2? Are they doing sequels to this, or is this one and done?
I don't know.
I kind of left it open.
This is a one and done.
They want to.
They did. Yeah. They did for sure.
As did the first Matrix.
I kind of think it's a one and done. I mean, based on the
the first Matrix could have been a one and done. Kind of had the same ending as the first one.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, and I liked the machine-human union in the cities and stuff where, like, oh, we're working together and this is how you change things. And I love the explanation of how they reconstructed their bodies. Like, how does it even make sense that they're there? Neo and Trinity died.
Yeah, that was cool. Like, the agent who came out and has like those little like nano bots that are like form a human thing, like a thing that they can be in the physical world. That was kind of cool. I did like that.
I want an action figure of that tiny robot on the ship, by the way. That thing looks very cute.
Oh yeah. Like a little fist bump at the end, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing that would have pushed this movie over the top for me is if it had, like, The Matrix always has like these just like iconic set piece things. Like in the first Matrix, they have like obviously like the bullet time stuff and the bullet dodge and the subway fight. Like there's all these things that are just like iconic fight scenes. Like the Reloaded has the freeway chase and the fight like in the Merovingian's place and like that like fancy place where they're destroying all the artwork and everything. Yeah, it's fantastic. And then like it was I think the thing that was kind of also interesting is like they're like flashing back moments of the original trilogy, like throughout this entire film. Like they reference a thing and then like they show it on screen. And
it's almost to remind you like this is that person we're talking about, so you're not completely lost.
Yeah. But like for me, like in a weird way, it drove home how iconic those things were.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like put up to what I was seeing on screen. Like in this one, I felt like I wasn't seeing something of the same. Like I wasn't going to remember this stuff as much.
Yeah. It was heart-wrenching at the beginning, Neo, like, drunk and, like, I'm going to jump off this roof. And then later when he was powerless with the architect, was the bullet coming towards Trinity and him not be able to do anything. It's like, there were some moments that were just like, whew. Yeah. So
I definitely just need to rewatch it again. Yeah. So I have like 30 days, I think, until it leaves HBO Max. So
right. Yeah. Yeah. I will watch it again before it leaves HBO Max. And I think I'll come back on HBO Max in like 3 months after that, probably.
Movie schedules are weird now.
Yeah, it's so weird. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't think I do. We covered a lot of ground today.
We did. This was a fun chat. I enjoyed recapping our year and just having fun and enjoying good content.
It's a good way to close out the year. I dig it. We didn't talk tech at all, almost. We got close. We got a little close. We did talk some AirPods. But we did good. For us, we did good.
We did, yes. So where can people check out your awesome videos?
Yeah, they can check me out on YouTube is the best place. I've got a channel called A Better Computer, and I typically do overviews of some of what I think are the best apps out there for the Mac, the iPad, the iPhone, other things sometimes, but mostly those. So productivity stuff and just kind of other just general things that'll help you use your computer better. So that's the best place to find me these days.
Cool deal. Well, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate the time today. This was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that was my conversation with Matt all about entertainment in 2021. Thank you for being a listener of iPad Pros. Make sure to check out Matt's channel, A Better Computer. And as a reminder, you can support this podcast over at patreon.com/iPadPros or by subscribing to the show in Apple Podcasts. I really do appreciate all the support of the show. Thank you so much if you currently or have in the past supported the show financially. With that, everyone have a wonderful New Year's, and I'll talk to everyone again in 2022. Thanks for listening.